Well, hi, everybody. I'm Don Stewart. Welcome to our second edition of Breaking News for this Sunday, the 19th day of May, 2024. And we have a shocking story, a very shocking headline, by the way. 1 month after he ordered an attack on Israel, the Iranian President Raisi has been involved in a helicopter crash and is presumed dead. And we're going to do this story during our entire episode here of Breaking News because it has some really important ramifications, as we will see. The Iranian regime is concerned for Raisi's life after a helicopter crash, is our top headline. Foggy weather and huge boulders complicated rescue efforts for the president's helicopter, according to Iranian reports. The Islamic regime in Iran expressed concern for the lives of Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi and Foreign Minister Hossein Amir Abdullahian after the helicopter in which they were traveling in suffered a hard landing on Sunday afternoon. Details about the incident remained unclear, although reports indicated that the president's helicopter suffered a hard landing in foggy weather. As night fell, the search became even more difficult. According to the Iranian IRNA news agency, the helicopter crashed in a forest area between the villages of Pir Davood and Uzi in northwestern Iran. Another headline reads as follows: Western officials assume that Raisi is dead. Now, we don't have any confirmation of that. This is just speculation right now. Now, immediately we go to Israel and we ask the question, were they involved in something? And this is our next headline. Israeli officials suspect Raisi's death in helicopter crash. They suspect that he's died, but they deny any involvement. In other words, they think, without hearing any final word, that he has died in this, but they deny that they had anything to do with it. While Jerusalem refraining from official comment on the helicopter crash involving Iran President Raisi, Israeli sources denied a link to the incident. In other words, we had nothing to do with it. Senior officials believe Raisi's death will have no significant impact on Israel. Israel is closely monitoring reports of Iran Sunday after the helicopter crash involving, among others, President Ibrahim Raisi and Foreign Minister Hossein Amir Abdullahian. As in the West, there is speculation that in Israel that Raisi, known as the Butcher of Tehran, did not survive the crash. Israeli officials are refraining from commenting on the incident. However, unofficial sources have clarified that the country has no connection or involvement in the helicopter crash, which reportedly occurred due to severe weather conditions near Yofa, a city close to the Azerbaijani border, approximately 600 kilometers or 375 miles northwest of Iran's capital, Tehran. Now, I have a friend who works with special forces. He's our go-to guy when events like this happen. And it was real interesting, his response. Here's what he said. I can't believe the bird, means the helicopter, that he was in. It's old Russian junk with a capital J-U-N-K. And he said it's very strange he would fly in something like this as the president of the country, but he did. Old Russian junk, and it seems that it crashed. All right, now, is this divine justice is our next question. Rabbis claim helicopter crash is God's punishment for Iran's Raisi. Rabbi Ben Artzi warned, have mercy on yourselves. God has said enough is enough. You have angered him, indicating that the incident was a result of spiritual retribution for actions taken by Raisi. Was it? Well, of course it was. How do we know this? Well, in our book, 25 Signs, we're near the end. We have a sign number 2 that says this: as their enemies have done to Israel, so God will do to them. And what we do, we list 5 specific enemies of Israel in the Old Testament that each one of them tried to destroy the nation. The Philistines, the Amalekites, the Moabites, the Edomites, and the Ammonites. All of them at different times tried to thwart God's program and destroy the people of Israel, the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And God pronounced judgment on these 5 people groups. And today you will not meet an Ammonite, you will not meet a Philistine, you will not meet a Moabite, an Edomite. They just don't exist anymore because they've all been lost in history. They've lost their national identity because God pronounced judgment on them. Now, in this chapter, what's interesting, we mentioned that there's 2 other nations that are involved in the Old Testament, front and center, particularly when Israel left Egypt to go to the Promised Land. And that's both Israel and Egypt. And according to Scripture, both of these nations will survive until the time of the end. There's a prophecies about Egypt in the future. There's prophecies, of course, as we talked about Israel existing in the last days. In fact, that's the main prediction that shows we're in the last days. Israel was returned to its ancient homeland at the time of the end. So again, these 5 people groups were destroyed because God 4,000 years ago said to a man named Abram, I'm going to bless those that bless you and curse those that curse you. Genesis 12, 1-3. And history is replete, not only biblical history, but history of the world, with examples of nations and individuals who attempted to destroy God's people, his chosen people, Israel, and God had judgment on them. On the other hand, those that blessed Israel, God turned around and blessed them, because that is what he told Abraham he would do to his descendants. Some 4,000 years ago, I'll bless those that bless and curse those that curse. And about a month ago, this is the man from Iran who gave the command. Again, the Ayatollah is above him, but he took the credit for the command of attacking Israel. And they did it with everything they had, and basically had no effect on the on the lives of the people of Israel. It's amazing how different groups, as we've talked about, came together, including the Saudis, the Jordanians, the French, the British, Americans, of course, and I believe everybody out. I said the British, but anyway, they all helped and thwart this Iranian attack. But the goal was to, do tremendous harm, tremendous damage to Israel. But again, it did not happen. And this is the retribution. God just said, enough is enough. And this is a living example to us of what happens when someone, this evil man, in fact, one of the stories said it would be hard to find someone in this world more evil than this man, Raisi. He had something like 4,000 political opponents of his murdered. Just a horrible, horrible individual. He was a cleric, but a tremendous evil person, tremendously evil. And so he's gone now, it looks like, very clearly. And this is, it's not coincidental. It happened a month after the attack on Israel. And it should be another sign to us that God is still working his will in the world, and he will only take so much from human beings. You can come to a place where God said, enough is enough. Now, here's the question. Would his death change Iranian policy? And the answer is no, but it would spark a fight for power, is our next headline. While fate of Iran's president, potential Khamenei successor, remains unknown, deep stable of figures waiting to fill the vacuum of his loss. Okay, it's too early to know the fate of Iran's president and foreign minister after their helicopter crashed in northwestern Iran on Sunday, but initial signs still look promising. An Iranian official told Reuters that while authorities are still hopeful, the information coming from this crash site is very concerning. Now, the lives of President Ibrahim Raisi, along with the foreign minister, are at risk, the official said. Now, though the deaths, if they are dead, though the deaths of these 2 senior Iranian officials would be a dramatic development at a time when multiple conflicts are raging in the region, it likely would not affect the course of those fights significantly, with decisions over foreign policy and war is under the purview of the supreme leader, Ali Khamenei. He's really the one that calls the shots. The president of the Islamic Republic is an implementer, not a decision maker, explained Jason Brodsky, policy director for the United Against Nuclear Iran. So the policies of the Islamic Republic, the fundamentals of those policies will remain the same. Raisi works for the supreme leader, noted Ori Goldberg of Reichman University. Certainly this guy, because he was elected in the least democratic elections the Islamic Republic ever had. At the same time, now here's what's really important. The sudden loss of Iran's president would create a power vacuum that senior figures would start maneuvering to take advantage of. According to Article 131 of Iran's constitution, in the case of the president's death, the first deputy temporarily assumes the presidency. Somebody named Mohammad Mokber is a Khamenei loyalist, and he would currently fill the role if that took place. Now, there's no shortage of powerful officials who've been waiting for an opportunity like this to move further up the regime's power structure, and the sudden shock of the death of Iran's president would present itself with a test from Khamenei. In other words, is he going to be able to show he can carry the country and his leadership through this transition? Now, with respect to a potential successor, and this is what's really fascinating, Raisi was seen as the leading candidate to replace Khamenei. In other words, when Khomeini's getting up there in years, if the Ayatollah died, he is the one that would be the supreme leader of Iran, because he is a cleric also. So he was seen that he's waiting in the wings, even though he's president. He's also a cleric. and he was looked at upon as being the natural successor to Khomeini. So this would really throw things off. He's a cleric, an ex-chief justice, a former head of a massive foundation, in addition to being president. So to have him off the field or incapacitated, dead, or what have you, is a real shock for the politics of the Iranian system. Now, while overshadowed by Raisi, the potential loss of this other fellow, Amir Abdollahian, could also be significant, as he has been an extremely effective foreign minister, overseeing successful reconciliation with the Saudis and navigating a series of difficult crises, including with the powerful neighbor Pakistan. And again, as one person said, it would be hard to find someone in to replace Raisi that is more evil than him. Our last headline: the effect of Raisi's possible death on Iraq's nuclear program and the Gaza war. Okay, should it become clear that he has died, Ibrahim Raisi and Foreign Minister Amir Abdollahian, if they died in the crash, those hoping that their sudden demise would lead to a regime change in the Islamic Republic are likely to be disappointed, experts say. This does nothing for regime change. An Iranian lecturer at Reichman University says, as he explains, that the impact would largely be domestic, nor did experts believe that their deaths could impact Iran's hatred with Israel in support of the proxy groups Hamas and Hezbollah, who are at war with Israel, or its push to produce nuclear weapons. So they'll just find some other evil character to take his place. Not as evil, is not as qualified, obviously, but still someone will move up the ladder and do that. But it is a real shock. It's something, no one was expecting to see it. And so we will just see. Now, we'll know by tomorrow, of course, if he has died. It's highly likely that he is dead, and then we'll see what, if anything, is announced after that. So to sum up, this shocking event does have a number of ramifications. The biggest takeaway for us is what happens when the Lord has had enough of any individual. God said to Abraham, again, I'm going to bless those that bless you and curse those that curse you. And the Bible and history is replete, full of examples that have been fulfilled time and time again, of those that attempted to curse God, that God cursed them. Galatians 6:7 is still in the Bible. Whatever someone sows, they shall also reap. And this man has really sown evil in his life, and now he's going to be paying the price for all eternity. All right, we'll pick this up tomorrow in our next edition of Breaking News, but this is the story that is, again, breaking. It's shocking, and we'll have more information tomorrow, and probably a confirmation that he and everybody on the helicopter had died. I know I'm probably going to have some new things to share about this, and new thoughts that people will have where we go from here. But we do know this: the hatred for Israel is going to continue. The war in Gaza is going to continue. The war in Lebanon is going to continue, even without this evil man. They'll just find another evil person to replace him. I'm Don Stewart. Thanks for watching. Until next time, as always, may the Lord richly, richly bless you.